And hey there, hi there, ho there, and a gracious good Saturday morning to you. Welcome back to another exciting edition of the Cardinal Couple Radio Hour podcast, where we discuss the joy and excitement of U of L women's athletics. Certainly a lot of exciting things that have gone on this week in the fall sports realm, and also some very exciting things coming up on this Labor Day weekend. First and foremost, want to wish you a very, very happy Labor Day weekend, whatever it is that you get into over the weekend. Try to have some fun with it, and certainly, if you're off Monday, enjoy that. It's a nice treat that we get here as summer rolls to a kind of maybe early conclusion. I think most people tend to equate Labor Day with the maybe entrance of fall. The weather will certainly be there for us as we've got some good things coming up. Got four of us in the house today. I'm joined by Case, Jared, and Jeff. Daryl's whereabouts unknown right now. I think she's probably had to work the bats last night, probably has to do the same today, but certainly we got a strong foursome in here today to bring you the news of what's going on. And as we like to do to start out the show, we kind of catch up with the guys and kind of see what's going on with them. Jeff has been volleyball crazy over the last 24 hours.
Evergreen tweet, right?
How was it out the LNFCU last night, sir?
Warm. They expanded the capacity of the arena a couple of years ago and didn't expand the AC. No, it was a lot of fun. Doubleheader match. We've got Northern Kentucky and South Dakota in town, along with Missouri, who we played last night. It was a lot of fun. A couple of the early game, Northern Kentucky. I keep trying to say the wrong school name for that. Northern Kentucky and South Dakota didn't really turn out the way we expected. So, a bit of discussion on that later.
Absolutely. So, yeah, that was kind of a surprise to see the final on that.
Yeah.
I saw the first match and it was like,
particularly after the first half of the first set.
Yeah. A nice comeback by the Norse there. And Jared Anderson was also out there snapping photos, not only for the U of L game, but was contacted by NKU to snap some photos for them. How did all that work out, Jared?
Oh yeah, it went really well. After the first set, I was thinking, I don't know if I'm going to get a lot of great photos for them, and then it's like it just all switched around. I got plenty of great shots, celebration shots for them. Their SID, who was busy covering another match on Northern Kentucky's campus, had emailed and expressed appreciation as they are down multiple staff members right now, and I guess they're in need of some full-time employees over there, so hopefully they'll get all that worked out.
And in addition to that, you ran into a couple of U of L women's basketball freshmen out there, from what I understand.
Oh, yeah. The first one that I recognized, due to her, I want to say, very bleach blonde hair and super height, Sydney Shetland kind of was a dead giveaway. And from there, it's like somebody's sitting with her, and figured out Alexia Mobley next, and then Jeff, from where his angle was like, I think that's Peyton Verhulst too.
To be fair, I also saw Alexia Mobley's video that she posted to Twitter with all three of them, so I had a cheat sheet.
Hey, it counts one way or another. So yeah. It was nice to see those three out there supporting volleyball, and especially with Sydney Shetland planning to play for U of L volleyball as well as women's basketball. But she's just not playing for volleyball this year.
Always good to see the other sports out supporting other sports on campus for sure. And it's only a matter of time, I guess, until the swim team shows up there to do their routine. But certainly good stuff there. More volleyball to come this weekend as well as the Cards continue to play. And in this,
I think the question for the swim team will be whether they count the masks as an article of clothing or not.
Yeah, well, there's going to be some people who get mad at them if they take them off.
Yeah.
So you got to take that.
They are required, and I think that's university-wide, not just athletic.
It is university-wide indoors. Got to have the mask on all times.
Yeah.
If you are an enclosed area, yes, you must be wearing that mask. So there you go.
But the men's swim team, when they come to volleyball, traditionally disrobe for each point until there's only one article of clothing left. So
let's hope it's not just the mask left.
Yeah.
Be a little more risque than Neely been to
Right.
he wants to have in the facility. Case in the house with us. Oh, Case has their Saturday right up at Cardinal Couple. Make sure and read that. He catches you up with a little VB, a little field hockey as well, and also the 3x3 women's basketball for FIBA that Haley Van Lith is participating in. Case, how was your week rolling for you?
It was a week. Um, that's just about as good as it gets. It was nice for that hot weather to break finally. Um, it rained forever to get to it, but it's been a pleasant last few days, and may take advantage of that this afternoon. Not in a fun way like going to golf, but in a productive way like doing some uh, what's the right word? Some neglected yard work.
Yeah, they keep growing despite our best efforts to try to get them to slow down. The yards do continue to produce things for sure. As for myself, got a chance to go out and watch a little high school football last night. I always love to do that and traveled to scenic Oldham County. Yes, I was in the OC watching my hometown Fern Creek Tigers take it to Oldham County with a 2010 win. It's always fun to go to those because there's a group of alumni that played football over the years that kind of get together and sit together, sometimes with spouses, sometimes without. And it's primarily 80% exchanging old war stories and 20% watching the game. Although I did try to follow volleyball last night on my little handheld tablet, but lost that after the first match, so I didn't know what was going on there. But hey, a lot of fun for me indeed. So, as we normally try to do at this time of the show, we will move on into scheduling and Twitter information. So we turn it over to Case Hoskins for that report.
Yeah, if we look at the schedule, it is certainly filling out as we move further into the fall. Today, like we have alluded to a little bit, a couple of volleyball matches, just one for UofL, but down in Illinois Federal Credit Union Arena, they'll get things kicked off at 3:30. Northern Kentucky will take on Missouri. That one's going to be probably the most evenly matched matchup of the weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I had to guess.
I guess.
Yeah. Maybe not. We'll see. Maybe tomorrow's is the most evenly matched.
Possibly.
Then UofL will take on South Dakota in the evening game there at 6 p.m. The UofL match is available on ACC Network Extra. The other matches not, since neither of those teams are in the ACC. Into Sunday, volleyball will also be the first thing on the schedule tomorrow. No time listed for when Missouri is taking on South Dakota, but since Louisville taking on Northern Kentucky is listed as 1, I would think that Missouri and South Dakota match starts at 11-ish, maybe 10:30.
Yeah.
Something like that. It's going to be a Sunday morning match for sure. Field hockey will then take on Princeton, the number 13 Tigers. That's at Princeton at 1:30 p.m. That one is available on video. I believe that's ESPN Plus if you're a subscriber. Women's soccer taking on Western Kentucky Sunday night at 7:30 p.m. At Lynn Stadium. So as always, that one's free admission for all the outdoor fall sports. That one's also available on ACC Network Extra if you're not in town or can't make it out. Football gets their season started a couple of days after most of the other teams start tonight or earlier this week. They're taking on Ole Miss, who are without Lane Kiffin, as was announced this morning. That game is at 8 p.m. on Monday night on ESPN. Men's soccer with the first fall battle of the Bluegrass. They're taking on Kentucky in Lynn Stadium on the ACC Network proper at 7:30 p.m. on Tuesday. Wednesday and Thursday, everyone is off. Friday, men's golf gets to head to Scottsdale, Arizona to take on a bunch of teams at the Mirabel Country Club for the Maui Jim Intercollegiate Invitational. Volleyball will take on Purdue at Xavier at 3 p.m. on Friday. No video listed on that, but they may come up with some. Jeff, I think you're going up to those, maybe?
I'm planning on being there, yeah. I have not heard any word on any potential video. I don't know if Xavier usually does that.
Jeff will
We
stream it
research
live
it.
on Periscope.
Yeah. Is Periscope still a thing?
I don't know. I think Twitter bought it. Who knows?
We lose you? I think we lost Case. Yep, we lost Case. Anybody want to pick up scheduling in Twitter?
Like all of the games are for
there we
preseason, except for the St. Louis match that already happened.
Case, we lost you a
Field
minute
hockey
ago,
taking
so
on Indiana at Traeger Stadium at 6 p.m. on Friday. Then men's soccer taking on Wake Forest at 7:30 p.m. on Friday as well. So that'll be a men's and women's soccer doubleheader. Those are always fun events. Saturday, I believe that we said the volleyball match is at 1 o'clock, and you guys are blowing up my phone. It's really throwing me off.
sorry.
I know
You dropped off the audio for a minute there, so and then
Yeah. I noticed that's weird because I saw that there were only 3 people in this call, and I thought that I was one of them. But
I was still hearing you okay though on my end.
Weird.
that was a really weird situation we all just experienced there for a second.
Weird stuff. All right.
By the magic of editing, no one will know anything about this in the podcast version. So that gets us through the scheduling. Welcome, live stream listeners and YouTube listeners,
and all of you listening over in Bulgaria as well. Welcome to the broadcast.
Behind the scenes. Yeah,
off the record.
As for Twitter, I tweet as at best case scenario, BST case scenario. Paulie tweets as at Cardinal Couple. Jeff is at Card Couple Radio and at Jeff McAdams. With him being in the house for volleyball, you'll get a few more tweets out of that at Card Couple Radio. But as always, he's more a fan than a media member when he attends volleyball for sure.
That's for sure.
And Jared tweets as at Mr. Anderson Jared. Daryl's also at Daryl Faust 4. Maybe one day she'll join us again. The bat season does have to end eventually, so we'll get her back into our clutches after that.
Probably no one more excited about the Bats season ending than the Bats. By the way they're playing lately, but
yeah.
Still, it's a fun time out there if you can get out there. Certainly enjoy it. You have a lot of good time. Just try to avoid anybody from iHeartMedia if you do show up out there. You'll end up drinking way too much. But that's...
And don't take part in their hot dog competitions because they don't do it right.
Don't do it.
As always, check out the right side of the site for the Twitter list with all of the UofL athletics and women's athletics in particular Twitter accounts for that list.
Absolutely so, man. Good stuff on there. Always make sure and check out Cardinal Couple every day as well at cardinalcouple.com, where we keep you up on what's happened, what's going to happen, and every once in a while a little personal commentary on things as well. We kind of had a balancing and a readjustment of the normal lineup during the week as I was doing 2 days in a row. Jared did 2 days in a row, but we still got everything out there and got you some great news on it. So what we'll do is kind of catch up on all that today, and what a better place to start than down on Floyd Street at the LNFCU. If you're not an initial type of person, that's the LNN Federal Credit Union, where the Cards took on SEC opponent, the Mizzou Tigers, last night in volleyball, and it was a wonderful outing for Louisville as they opened this Cardinal Classic, a 3-day event, with a sweep of the Tigers, taking them down 25-16, 25-18, and then 25-16. 3 sets that basically Missouri weren't into after the first few points, and Louisville dominated with a very, very strong effort by a lot of different players out there for the Cards. Jeff, you were out there watching firsthand on it along with Jared. We'll let you start out and kind of give us your ideas and thoughts on how they did last night.
Yeah, a good solid outing for the Cards. Missouri is traditionally a decent team. They're usually not top top in the country, but they're traditionally a decent team. They're a pretty young squad right now. They've got a lot of freshmen, sophomores on the squad, very little senior leadership. So struggling a bit on the year. They're 0-4 at this point to start out the season, with some not great, some pretty rough losses in there. So not a super competitive team here for the Cardinals, given that we're at this point ranked 12th and will likely gain more on Monday when the rankings come out. Great outing. Anna Stevenson did well, a couple of solo blocks there. 750 hitting percentage is just ridiculous. I mean, not totally uncommon for middles, but still. Amaya Tillman, just amazing in the middle as well, in the opposite, the other middle position. Anna DeBeer looked great. Paul, I know you're a fan there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, she's a great, for a sophomore, has gotten up to the speed of the game so well. She had a few stumbles last year, but playing well, playing solid, full rotation. She tied to lead the team in digs, which for a big 6 foot plus hitter is pretty impressive back there. Some big strong swings by her. I continue to be more and more impressed with her. She's a great player, great asset for the team. So a lot of fun. New libero this year, freshman Elena Scott, playing in the libero position, did a fine job. Got to a lot of balls, kept the Cardinals in a lot of plays that I think Missouri thought were going down. So pretty good outing for her as well. This is a fun team to watch so far.
Certainly they are, and certainly are showing it with the win column as well. Now 4-0. Jared Anderson also out there taking photos, doing probably a little bit of cheering, not a lot, I'm sure, between the NKU assignment and the UofL pictures that you took. And by the way, make sure and catch Jared's pictures out in today's article, where he's got some nice photos in there from the action last night. Jared, all's well that ends well for Louisville volleyball, it looks like.
Yeah, for being how early in the year it is, they look pretty fairly mid-season form already, which is quite impressive. Nice to see Elena Scott in that starting libero position as a freshman. Her right leg was taped up from about the knee up, and you could tell in a couple times here and there that she was favored more of the left leg. So not sure the severity of the injury, but if she's out there playing a full match, you'd think that she's pretty all right. But then, I mean, it's really been the blocking in the front line that was impressive. As Jeff mentioned, just the attacks and the blocks and what Anna Stevenson did and what Anna DeBeer did. And then when you get some of your other players coming in and just like stepping up, it's hard to beat a team if they block every attempt you have. So it's a good route to get some early points going and build up your defense. And I thought they looked great and should go on and get another win tonight, hopefully.
Certainly, we hope that indeed. And you also got a chance to take a few non-volleyball related photos as well last night. Kind of break that down for us a little bit.
Oh, yeah. With a few of the women's basketball freshmen there, had to say hey to them, and they were more than happy to get in a picture. And I sent it over to them last night. They were more than thrilled. I don't think Peyton Verhulst knew me off the bat until I sent the picture, and then she was able to put 2 and 2 together with my social media page and my face. And then with Jordan Nwora in town, got a couple pictures of him as well, and he was definitely caught off guard at times.
There you have it. Jared Anderson, man with a camera, taking care of photos. Case, a good win for the Cards. There's still maybe some questioning on service errors, maybe for Louisville. But other than that, certainly a sharp effort for the Cards.
Yeah, they improved in this one. I wrote about it a little bit today. 5 aces and only 7 errors. So that's fewer errors than they had in the, I think, any of the matches from last weekend. And that ratio is getting closer. Obviously, you want to see it flip over. You want more aces than errors, but it is what it is. They had more aces and fewer errors than the opposing team. How much can you say that their service aces have to do with Missouri not being that great defensively? Tough to say. But they had a better night serving than they have in the past. I was looking at the box score here, and there were 4 Annas in the match. Both teams had 2, and also number 0, comma, had a great game for Missouri.
What an interesting name.
So probably some issues with just the way that the box score wants to read that. We've had that issue with characters, non-English characters in the past, so who knows what's going on with that. But Jared,
I think that's Caleb Burbage, who is a very fine player. So that would make sense. Yeah.
So
Comma.
there it goes. But looking at, Jared mentioned all of Mizzou's attempts getting blocked, it felt like, but in that third set, the poor Tigers had their fewest number of errors. They also had their fewest number of attempts. You go a whole set with only 17 attempts. Louisville had more kills than Missouri had attack attempts. So they definitely were not really able to get much going as far as offense throughout the whole match. They struggled with errors in the first couple of sets, and then Louisville just dominated in that third set. I mentioned in the article, they were unable to get within 3 once any of the sets passed the halfway point. So never closer than 12 to 15. I wanted to say they never got within 5 after 10 points, which would have been true except for that pesky second set where they tried to keep it a little bit closer for a little longer. But I think it's pretty clear Louisville outmatched Missouri in this one. It is funny that the official UofL title of the article would be Cards Tame Tigers. I think the Tigers were plenty tame before they ever arrived in this city, but it was good. It's encouraging to see Louisville play so well when they are outmatching a team like this. Volleyball's a sport where you can still be a much better team and have a poor match if you're not hitting the ball well. And Louisville took advantage of this and were able to hit their spots. The player with the most errors on Louisville's team only had 3, and she still finished with, a higher hitting percentage than the entire Missouri team. So, not bad.
Always got to love it when you beat an SEC school. That's the first of 2 on the volleyball schedule for the Cards, as in 11 days they will take on the Wildcats of Kentucky in volleyball. Team, of course, obviously ranked very high. I think 3rd, maybe, last I saw, guys. I'm not positive on it.
Yeah, they were preseason 3rd. They're third currently. Yeah.
And a great night for the Cards. A couple members of the A team, as I like to call them, Anna DeBeer and Amaya Tillman, both had 10 kills, and they did those each on fewer than 20 attempts each. That's a pretty nice hitting percentage right there on kills. Tillman, of course, only had 2 errors in this match. DeBeer with just 1. Aiko Jones, normally we expect to see here near the top of the kill list, and she did add 8 kills. And Tori Dilfer picked up 5 kills as well. So, as Kay so aptly put, if they're going to leave the center open, the center is going to make you pay. And she certainly did last night. So, Jeff, we roll on in. And a nice, serviceable win for the Cards here as they now get ready to take on South Dakota, who was a bit of maybe a surprise yesterday. They started out well against Northern Kentucky and all of a sudden ran out of gas.
Yeah, I didn't make it to the arena until, a bit into the first set. But thanks to Jared for kind of reporting on what was happening in the early part of that, the 13-1 lead for South Dakota. Then started evaporating a little bit, and then they did get the win in the first set. But Northern Kentucky came through and won the next 3. This is so. I liked what Patty Norton said on the broadcast last night as color commentator. She was commenting about the UofL versus Missouri game and how it was somewhat competitive, and at least in statistically, and the Missouri or the Northern Kentucky versus South Dakota game and how it was somewhat competitive. She said, but if you watch it, the UofL Missouri game was taking place about 2 to 3 inches higher and up above. So. Northern Kentucky is a shorter team. South Dakota is a shorter team. They don't exactly have the the size and the power. So that'll be the big thing to watch for tonight and tomorrow on how these matchups occur. Like I talked about earlier, Northern Kentucky is a very quick offense. South Dakota is a pretty quick offense too. Not as quick as Northern Kentucky's, but we'll see how that speed matches up against UofL's blocking and middle hitting is such a big part of this UofL offense. So we'll see how it goes.
Still undefeated, the Valley Cards are. Let's hope that can continue throughout the weekend for them.
I will say we are positioned to move up in the rankings already at this point. Baylor is currently ranked 9th. They are sitting at 1-2 on the season now. They lost their second match last night. They lost last weekend to Wisconsin, but they actually moved up in the rankings after that because Wisconsin was like ranked number 2. So it's a good team. But they did lose last night to unranked and not even receiving votes Tennessee. So there's a good chance they're going to drop quite a bit, and we'll probably pick up a position off of that. So
there you go.
It's still early in the weekend.
Yeah. We got a lot of weekend to go here still on just Labor Day weekend.
Yep.
Another very interesting thing I found out this morning about Baylor is that their women's sports teams are dropping the lady.
All right, good for them.
The Bears. Does that have anything to do with Kim Mulkey leaving? Who's to say? I'm not going to be a conspiracy theorist here, but for years we'd known Baylor's teams as the Lady Bears. They will no longer be known as that. They will be known as the Bears. So, and anytime I hear the Bears,
that's
course,
good.
I think
because I've never seen a lady bear.
Well, I've never seen a bear except at about 100-yard distance.
Well, I've seen a bear. I couldn't tell whether it was a man bear or a lady bear anyway. So
if there are cubs following Case, it's usually a lady bear. Just to give you an idea.
I mean, my high school's team was the Bearettes, which is a lot close to Barrettes, which is really just a hair clip. So
yes, indeed.
What are you gonna do?
I always wondered about that too. But anyway, I used to call them the Bulldogs before I was corrected on that. That, of course, being the Butler Bulldogs up in central Indiana. Let's take it away from Floyd Street and head to Princeton. Yes, Ivy League school Princeton, where we all probably could have been admitted if we had wanted to try at a high school. Okay, maybe not. But Louisville field hockey was up there in a part of New Jersey that thankfully wasn't deluged by the hurricane and was not underwater. In fact, it looked very beautiful around the Princeton campus, which unfortunately isn't the case for all of New Jersey right now. But the Cards were up there getting ready to participate in the ACC versus Ivy League Challenge, where Princeton and Penn represented the Ivy League. Louisville and North Carolina represented the ACC. The Cards had the first match of the game. They took on a Penn squad, which looked pretty decent at times. Louisville actually got a goal, though, in each one of the first 3 quarters and took a 3-1 win over Penn to improve to 3-0 on the year. Another win for Justine Zary and her crew. Always happy about those. And as we looked at this game, and I watched it on ESPN Plus, and I have to give their commentator thumbs up too. He did a really good job of calling the match. But the Cards got the action early. Started with a couple penalty corners in the first several minutes of the game. It was the third penalty corner they got a chance to take, where Charlie Van Oorschot sent a very nice pass into Julie Koweiser. Julie belted it home, and the Cards had a 1-0 lead. So a 1-0 lead after the first quarter there. This Louisville field hockey team, you know, Jared, you can put them just about anywhere. They're always going to give you a good effort after that Final Four appearance last year.
Yeah, coming off of a great season last year and wanting to continue to build up and just set the standard, and the goal at this point is let's win a national championship because it's easily doable. Did like to see that they improved their efficiency with their corners. I think 6 corners on the match, and 2 of the goals were a direct result from the corner, either on the initial shot or a follow-up, which is much better than last weekend where it seemed like they had about 12, 13 corners and got maybe 1-2 goals off of those. And that's something that in the past Coach Sauer has really kind of reiterated over and over again just how important it is to find your scoring opportunities off corners. And they did that pretty well. And you're seeing a pretty healthy rotation of both players that are inbounding the ball and players taking that shot. Julie Cowhauser being one of those that's been really effective. Taking the shot on the corners, usually you don't see your defender get too many scoring opportunities, but she did get 4 shots last night, including a goal. And I believe hers was, as you mentioned, was the first goal of the match before Katie Schneider came in, got her 3rd of the season, which I think is team leading. And then Embry Jane Amorte there in the 3rd quarter kind of put the Cards back up by a couple goals. So we're really spreading that offense around.
And when we look at it, Jeff, this was a team that had some question marks, obviously, with Mercedes Pastor no longer there. A very prolific scorer for Louisville during her time playing Louisville field hockey. The question kind of came to us, who's going to pick up that scoring slack? And it looks like it's scoring by committee, sir.
Yeah, and we talked about this a little bit last week, of course, but I think we're learning more and more that it continues to be true, that we're having you're seeing, by spreading out the offense among multiple people and not keying on a single player, you don't let the defense key on a single player as much, giving everybody more opportunities to score. I think that's what we're seeing here. It certainly the roster of names under the G column in the stat sheet keeps changing, and there's many different ones, so that's always good to see. I think it's an encouraging development for the team, for the maturity of the team overall, to not depend on a single player. So
a Penn team that hopes to kind of break into the top 2 of the Ivy League this year. The top 2 has been dominated by Princeton and Harvard for such a long time in the Ivy League. But Penn showed some things that they, of course, unfortunately have to go from the fire to the frying pan as they have to play UNC up there for their final match in the challenge. But a Penn team that didn't look too bad. In case I continue to be impressed with Mila DeKaier in goal for the Cards. She didn't have a lot of action yesterday. She really didn't have any saves, but only 1 goal scored on her. Penn only took 5 shots in the whole game, Case, and 4 were blocked either by defenders or missed the goal completely. So when they're not talking about Maya in a negative way, that's good. And she's really kind of stepped in when we had some question marks about why she was out there, and Sam Minyard wasn't out there. Sam, of course, we love to death and hope that she can make it back out soon. But Maya, this freshman from the Netherlands, really stepped in, hadn't she, sir?
Yeah, like you mentioned, a rather uneventful day. Unfortunate to get a goal scored on you in the one on-frame shot, but the way that it was described, it sounded like it was across the goal after a long pass. Those are always tough when your backside is undefended, especially in the gear that they wear in field hockey. Tough to get all the way across the goal, and the ball is so small to make up that difference. The defense really stepped up, like you mentioned. 3 blocks from them, and then some goals or some shots off frame. So statistically, Mila was just out there doing her own thing for most of the game. But that set of penalty corners in the 4th quarter, definitely she had to be holding her breath when those end up getting blocked and sent away. And there's so many of them in a row. It's easy to give up a goal in that situation. And when you give up 1 goal, then all of a sudden it's a 1-goal game. So definitely important. She's been playing well. Like I mentioned, not a whole lot to her chores yesterday, but she stayed focused, stayed in the game, and did a good job directing her defense to do what they needed. Just to follow up with what Jeff was saying, and when you guys were talking about scoring by committee, if we look at last season, only 11 players scored in the whole season. So far through 3 matches, Louisville has 8 different goal scorers. So
Wow.
it's
That speaks volumes right there. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to imagine Amy Plum's going to score. She hasn't. Charlie Van Oorschot's going to score. She hasn't. Cameron Pachea, Amelia Kaczmarczyk, Mackenzie Carl, names that you've seen in the goal column in previous seasons aren't in it yet, and Louisville's already got that many goal scorers. So they're definitely spreading it around a lot more this season.
One of the things, Jared, that we've got here in field hockey is where in some sports your conference slate follows a non-conference slate. In field hockey, it's a little bit different where you've got a lot of non-conference games mixed in with the conference slate. Certainly, the Cards will be taking on Princeton up there to finish the challenge on Sunday. But then after that, Indiana, a Big Ten opponent, Liberty, who is ranked in the top 25. And then they finally get their first match of ACC competition on Friday, September 17th. We bring Virginia into town, who, believe it or not, received a first place vote in the ACC preseason coaches poll. But the Cards look like they're in good shape right now, Jared. Certainly, I think one of the things that you have to look at when you look at this team, though, is if you're an opposing coach, is like, where's the pain going to come from? Mercedes is gone, and there's a host of people that have jumped in there to take her place.
Yeah, if I'm an opposing team, I'm doing a lot of face guarding and kind of putting the pressure on in transition and see if you can't force Louisville into a bad shot. Because once they've gotten their offense set down there in that final, I think it's what the hockey field split in quarters. So I think that final quarter of the field, you're not going to have much success defending them just because of how great the offenses looked and how many different players can score at a moment's notice. So if you were to game plan, it's like you better look in transition. But I think UofL's passing is just really kind of been turned up a notch this year too. So I'm not even sure that you could get much going that direction. And then pretty strong veteran defense back there, which takes some of the pressure off the freshman Mila and goalkeeper. And she's also getting coached by a head coach who was a former goalkeeper and a fantastic goalkeeper back in the day. So I think it's just a really well-rounded team. I'm seeing plenty of wins coming up on the schedule, and I think we're going to finish a lot higher than fifth, where the ACC coaches thought we'd finish at the end of the year.
Yeah, and in that poll, actually, it was a three-way tie for third place, which obviously put us fifth for some reason. I don't know why, when three teams are tied after the top two teams were picked. But anyway, Case, it's also good to see that name Snyder doing some good things. Not Megan, who had 4 wonderful years at UofL, but her younger sister Katie, who's been very essential in the Cardinals' attack this year and got her third goal of the year yesterday against this very strong Penn team. So it's always good to see the sister act continue once one of the sisters gone.
Yeah, she's got 3 goals, 3 assists, leads the team in both. Only has 5 shots. Only 4 of them have been on goal. So talk about an efficient scoring. And she's also only played 128 minutes. If you want someone that's been even more efficient, I don't know if this stat is right. It feels like it can't be. Philippa Niebuhr. Niebuhr? Is that how you say that?
It's close enough.
She's played 5 minutes. She's got 2 goals and an assist.
That's...
What? She's taken 10 shots? There's no way she's only played 5 minutes. That has to be a typo. You could not get 10 shots in 5 minutes.
No.
I refuse to believe it.
Unless it's in warm-ups. Yeah.
Either way, even if that's supposed to be 50, that's incredibly efficient from her. So, but yeah, Katie Schneider, she's been playing really well. She's doing a great job. And that's really all you can say about it. Like you mentioned, it's great to see that name continuing, and great for her personally. Always tough to try and live up to an older sibling's shadow like that. So congrats to her, and it's definitely helping out this team that she's filling more of a role than she did before.
So good to see the mix of upperclassmen performing well, along with the freshmen that have come in, and several of them getting a chance to get out there and compete and play and score and do some good things. As Justine Sari's squad now 3-0. As mentioned, they'll take it back to the Princeton field to play the home-standing Princeton Tigers. Sunday up there, and that's a beautiful field up there, by the way. If you get a chance to watch this one, if you've got the ESPN Plus package, see if you can tune that one in and watch a little bit of it on Sunday, because that's a very nice field up there, very beautiful. So we go from the Ivy League to hey, what the heck? Let's go down and visit the Arch. You guys ready? Not our friend Arch, but the Arch in St. Louis, where Louisville women's soccer made a trip down to play a Thursday night match against the Billikens. That's right, playing the St. Louis Billikens down there on a very nice effort down there as the Cards went down to play the Billikens and took them down. Yes, beat the Billikens to win that one there. A little bit time before scoring actually took part in this one. We were about 30 minutes into the match before Morgan Bentley got a great pass at the top middle of the box from Nina Nicosia, belted it home for a 1-0 lead. The Cards certainly did well after that as well. Gabby Cazella's doing a good job back in goalkeeper case, is still undefeated.
Yeah, they escaped this one, I think. St. Louis is a team that we looked at. We thought might give Louisville more of a fight based on their previous seasons, but it's been a struggle for old SLU this year. They started the season with a couple of exhibition matches. They beat SIUE and they beat Evansville in both of their exhibition matches. And since then, they played a tough schedule. They played 4 power conference teams. Well, 3 power conference teams and Xavier. So Xavier, Iowa, Kansas, and Louisville, they've played. Now they've all lost to them. 1 win coming at Illinois State. So definitely not the team that we expected, but they did give Louisville a heck of a fight. Cards, like we mentioned, unable to score for quite some time until the 60th minute. And it was nervy. It was definitely nervy. The Billikens had 10 shots, the same number as Louisville. They had 3 on goal. So both teams with 3 saves. Louisville had 4 shots on goal and the 1 that snuck in. So, yeah, you take this one. You take what you can get. You escape, and you return home. I know that this was one that we looked at. Some of us picked it to be a loss. We weren't sure how it was going to go. We also weren't sure how this team was going to play. So they've played a lot better offensively than we expected. But Louisville also does get a clean sheet. That's something that we've been missing from them a little bit, expecting the defense to play better than it had been. And so when that's something you've been struggling with, that's a little bit of a confidence booster for your defense to be able to win a game 1-0 like that.
Jeff, this one was scoreless in the first half, as Case mentioned. And the second half, St. Louis nearly took this lead early in the second half when they fired a deep shot that hit the crossbar. If Gabby Cazella's comes out tomorrow night and fondly rubs the crossbar at Lynn Stadium, we'll know why, because it saved her from having a goal scored on her. But the defense looks solid for Louisville. I think the thing that I like the most about it is that the Cards came back in, regrouped at halftime, and won this game. And talk about goalkeeper play. This St. Louis goalkeeper made a very, very wise move when our own Morgan Bentley was given a penalty kick. She decided to go right. The St. Louis goalkeeper guessed correctly, dove to her right to save that penalty kick. And normally penalty kicks are pretty much a foregone conclusion. You're going to get those. St. Louis's goalkeeper did a good job on that. But certainly like the way that the Cards came out and won this on the road, Jeff.
Yeah, it's you got to give credit to the goalkeeper. 3 saves that's a decent outing. Particularly when you've got, I guess UofL had 4 shots, right? 4 shots on goal. They saved 3 of them. That's a pretty good outing. Out of 10 shots, they missed 6 of them completely. 3 on goal that she saved, only 1 made it in. You can't fault that too much. Goalkeeping there. So
yeah, especially when one of them is a penalty save.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's what are the statistics on penalties?
Not good.
Yeah.
You get about a 90% chance of scoring.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you put the ball on frame.
it's not 100%, but there's a really good chance of it. So it's always great to get that. So credit to her for that. Credit to UofL for not giving up in this one and keeping at it and eventually getting that second half score. It was a little fairly early in the second half, but good to get that out there. Morgan Bentley is a lot of fun to watch. I've been out to a couple of games, and she's been a lot of fun to watch on the field. So try and get out there tomorrow and watch her tomorrow night too.
Yes, as tomorrow we get treated to the Battle of I-65. Yes, the Battle of I-65 as the Tops come up from Bowling Green, Western Kentucky University, coming in to take on the Cards on a game that Jared has already told me there's going to be a bouncy castle out in the playground. So certainly we'll probably find Case out there running around going amok on that. But as the Cards 4-0 bring in the Toppers, what about this one? What do we know about Western Kentucky? What have we seen in them? Are they a team that can come in here and give us a challenge at all, Jared?
Well, we lost to them in the spring, but I want to say our spring season was one that maybe you just want to kind of throw out the window and not look back on for many years, as we were kind of adjusting to the loss of Amina Ikic without having the chance to get our freshmen in yet, as they were all finishing up their high school senior seasons. But I think now that we've got our full roster that's playing and our new faces have gotten a few matches in under their belts, they're familiar with our system and how Coach Karen Ferguson Days likes to run things. We've seen that our team is quite much better than, I guess, what we were anticipating to start the year, especially 14 goals in 4 matches is kind of right there near the UofL record books. I know they had tied it for 13 goals in 3 matches, which was tied with the inaugural season, believe it or not. So I've been fairly impressed, and honestly, I think we can beat Western Kentucky, but it's one of those you still got to go in without feeling overly confident and you play your game, trying to score early, and kind of force Western Kentucky back on their heels, playing catch up, and I think we'll be fine.
Certainly a lot of credit to Morgan Bentley, who we kind of thought coming into this year might be an integral part of the Louisville offense, but she's certainly stepped up and done some wonderful things for the Cards so far, Jeff. She's a hard-working player. I would put her right now maybe up there close to being the MVP of the squad so far. Obviously, with Gabby Castellas doing a lot of good things, and this Louisville women's soccer team has traditionally started out over the last couple of years, Jeff, with good starts, going undefeated for a stretch of games before they run into a strong non-conference opponent or the ACC schedule, whichever have you. After beating St. Louis, WKU, some thoughts on that one from you?
Yeah, like I said, I enjoy watching Morgan Bentley play. I'm going to try and get out there tomorrow night and hopefully see her have a lot of fun out there again. She's a great player. You got to give her a lot of credit. We've got a couple of great attackers out there that are doing some great things. Bentley is among them. One thing I do want to call out with this Western game, Western's coming into this. They're going to be well rested. They did not play last night. They were, or yesterday afternoon, they were scheduled to play against Tennessee Tech. Tennessee Tech had to cancel because of COVID-19 reasons. So they're coming in here well rested, where we're going to be playing on, a couple of days rest, which is nice, but certainly not the same. So that'll be an interesting thing to factor into this as well. So their previous game was on Thursday the 26th. Went into overtime and they edged out a pretty good Vanderbilt team. So
certainly not an easy task for the Cards in the Battle of I-65, and certainly Western maybe coming in with a little bit of confidence having down this last year. But hey, if you're not doing anything important or major over this Labor Day weekend, get on out and watch a little fun soccer out at Lynn, because it's always a good time out there for sure.
Hey, we can pressure Jeff and Case into going, being no work on Monday, so plenty of time to sleep in.
That indeed, yeah, it could be a rare sighting of four of the Cardinal Couple Radio Hour podcast participants in the place at the same time. I think last time we were all four out there together, we had a picture of all four of us. So
Yep. Yes.
we'll see what happens there. I'm tentatively all systems go for showing up as well. So
I'm
we'll see.
planning on being there. We may have to deal with some rain and storms being there too. So
Yeah,
maybe we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
let's just hope it isn't the Thunderfest that we
Yeah.
had to outlive playing against James Madison. That was no fun at all, right? But certainly we'll bring it on. Let's get it done as the Cards try to remain undefeated as they're currently 4-0. That covers the major three sports that we tend to follow during the fall. Let's move it on over to the hardwood where basketball is taking part in. Certainly one of our very, very fine basketball players, sophomore Haley Van Lith, getting in some good things right now, playing with the USA 3x3 team, playing in the little FIBA ball. They are in Pool A up in Montreal, playing up there, and actually played 3 games yesterday, Case, playing Germany, Austria, and the Netherlands, and taking all 3. Haley, of course, playing quite well for them. She's like the Energizer Bunny. She just keeps on ticking, doesn't she?
Yeah, she, like you mentioned, played really well. Scored a total of 18 points in those games, which, if you don't know, those games only go to 21 or to a time amount. None of their games reached 21.
It's 10 minutes.
Yeah, 10 minutes. There you go. Her best game.
These are quick games.
Yeah. Her best game came against the Netherlands. She scored 9 points. The team only scored 16, so really, really impressive there. Picked up 8 rebounds. There's not a lot of rebounds in 3-on-3 basketball because a lot of your shots are short to mid-range jumpers or layups. A lot of high quality shots. Most of your turnovers come off of made baskets or off of turnovers, not from misses. So 8 rebounds, not bad. Unfortunately, the one thing that is kind of a ding, I didn't track her turnovers. I know that she had a couple of those too, so that might have been a ding as well. But like I mentioned, it's fast paced. It's pretty easy to turn the ball over in 3-on-3. Her ding was 0 for 5 from beyond the arc yesterday. It's always funny looking at the score because it tells you how many 1-pointers they made and how many 2-pointers they made, which it's just goofy. But your best play in 3-on-3 basketball is to get fouled on a layup because you get 2 points when you should only get 1. So you'd like to see her long range shooting a little bit better. She was fairly consistent from beyond the arc last year. Definitely could have been better, but it was something that you were hoping to see her improve on this year. But if she's playing that point guard role, if she hits a couple of pull-up jumpers or pull-up threes every once in a while, that'd be nice. But it would have been nice to see that improve a little bit over the offseason, and maybe she'll come out and drain 4 of them today in the semifinals and finals match if they make it that far. But that's the one knock I have.
We know she's got the capabilities, and I kind of have to give myself a kick in the rear end here because I always try to proofread the articles that the guys do throughout the week, and in proofreading Case's article this morning when he was talking about the USA team, I just have to ask you, Case, how much did they have to pay to buy a trip to the semifinals?
Oops. I always get that one confused, right? Like, it's one of the ones that neither spelling of the word buy makes sense in that situation. And I don't think I had finished my second cup of coffee by the time I finished the article today. So
we'll blame it on the caffeine level then, okay?
I don't call your typos out on the radio.
Hey, believe me. When I have to go through my articles, it's not a cup of coffee; it's a thermos of coffee. Trying to read mine because I try to go through them so quickly. I go back and I see all these spelling errors. I'm like, Jesus Christ, this is horrible. But we do catch them. Haley Van Lith, Jared, projected starter for the Cards, obviously this fall, doing some wonderful things. when I take a look at Haley and what she can do, I don't see her as our next Dana Evans. I think she's a different type of ball player than that. But just kind of talk of her importance to this squad this year and down the road.
Yeah, she's a great ball handler, fantastic scorer. She can score inside on you, score from deep range, but she doesn't have to worry about trying to carry the team, especially in a tight situation. I think there's enough players on the team around her. And I wouldn't even call it a supporting crew. I think they're all pretty well evenly balanced on what they can do. That she can have an off game. There's plenty of players around her that can do something, or she may get double teamed or a rare triple team somewhere and be fine because someone else will be able to take over. But I think she's gonna step up and be one of more of the vocal leaders on the team this year, and see a little bit more of the point guard duties, as last year she kind of switched around with the 1-2 and even occasional 3 position.
The USA squad will wait today to see who wins in the second quarterfinal matchup between Germany, who they've already defeated, and Canada. Yes, the Canadian team. They'll be playing.
Beat Germany, but let's call out how close that was. That actually went into. We said it was a 10-minute game.
Right.
That actually goes into. That one actually went into a little bit of overtime.
Yes,
the overtime rules in 3x3, I think, is the first team to get up by 2 points. I think, is that correct? So
I think you're right on that.
Yeah.
I haven't watched enough 3x3 lately to kind of remember all.
Yeah, Germany tied it up at 16 with 12 seconds left, and then Brianna Richardson made a couple of 1-point shots in untimed play at that point to get 2 points up. So I think that's how that works.
If you care to watch that one, it'll be on approximately 4:25 whenever you know for sure this afternoon, and it'll be on YouTube, as we've got a link in today's article that will take you directly to the YouTube broadcast on it. And obviously, the way that these go sometimes on YouTube, not really so sure about the quality of the announcing you're going to get, but certainly you can always turn down the sound and just watch Haley go to work.
Yeah, and the video is always good. YouTube's got a good video distribution system.
Yes,
so
they do.
It's good quality stream. So
You've actually got Jordan Liggins on the call for these games, or she's at least one of the announcers. Host of the Spinsters podcast from Blue Wire that they did that article, or they did that podcast earlier this year that I shared about why women don't dunk. And so she's actually doing the call for that one. So I don't know how her quality as an announcer is, but she's a good podcaster. So
we'll certainly find out on that. So congratulations to USA. The 18-16 win over Germany. The 15-14 win over Austria, which is a lot closer than I thought it would have been. And a 16-14 win over the Netherlands. They move on to wait to see who's going to come out of this one between Germany and Canada. Good luck to these guys. And boys, believe it or not, but we've almost eaten this whole hour up discussing the joy and excitement of UofL women's sports. It's been a fun-packed hour. Let's go ahead and get into some, I guess, final thoughts as we get ready to wind down another show. Jeff, why don't you start us out this week with final thoughts?
Oh gosh, the whole idea of getting another ranking spot in volleyball would have been a great final thoughts, but I had to go ahead and open my mouth earlier. Such a great weekend to get out, some great weather, get out to, come down to Floyd Street, enjoy, come watch some volleyball tonight and then tomorrow, and then, a great evening where most people don't have to go to work on Monday for a great soccer game, free admission for soccer. Come on out. It should be a lot of fun. Hopefully we don't get wet.
Indeed. Let's hope that the rain goes north or south of us here and doesn't interfere with soccer plans down on Floyd. Case, final thoughts?
Yeah, I didn't write about this one in today's article, but you did have the Tennessee dual meet for cross country yesterday. UofL did okay. It was just Louisville versus Tennessee, so not a ton of runners. Only 20 in the women's 5K. Purity Songo finished the highest ranked Cardinal in fourth. Tennessee really kind of ran away with that one, but fourth place is not a bad finish. She's about 8 seconds off of a podium there. So, yeah, that's what I had.
Good final thought there for sure. As we always like to follow our cross country runners and see how they're doing and how they're faring against various schools. Jared, final thoughts?
Just glad to have plenty of games going on. I think it was, if I can, right, 5 this weekend for me, and then men's soccer match in the middle of the week, and then it looks like if I can balance out 3 teams all playing within like an hour and a half span on Friday night next week, another 5-game weekend next week. So I like staying busy with all the UofL games, and it's that much better when they win.
And if you see Jared at one of the events, just kind of wave to him. Maybe he'll take your picture and maybe we'll run it here at Cardinal Couple. You just never know. He's that kind of guy. He's liable to do it. He'll catch you when you're looking at your phone too and then accuse you of being asleep. That's happened to me in the past. The final thoughts on me, yeah, it is the Labor Day weekend, certainly the first holiday that we celebrate after the 4th of July here in the United States of America. Kind of a time where people tend to, in most cases, look forward to having that Monday off from the normal routine. But I do want to kind of to say this, and not in a Debbie Downer kind of way, but folks, we're still having COVID issues out here in our society, and I know that the realm of our population right now is happy to be able to get back out and do things and socialize and then go to sporting events and attend things. But if you're going to do so, try to not only think of your own health and safety, but those around you, especially our youngsters. If you're going to go to events, make sure and wear that mask if you would, please. And let's try to make a dent in this, because the numbers that we're getting in lately are certainly ones that are not encouraging at all on the rate of COVID spread on the Delta variant. And we got to beat this somehow, kids. And the best way to do it is to mask up and wash up, and certainly be careful in indoor settings, I think. But one thing it's not going to affect is the Cardinal Couple Radio Hour podcast. If they've got to hook me up in the ICU with a microphone, I'll still talk to you all as we'll keep this show rolling. Wishing everybody a great Labor Day weekend, and certainly get out and support some cards. Do it safely if you can. We'll see you next week.